Hello. This is Dirty Trucking. I'm getting to the bottom of what's the hell going on here at Hertz. It's currently 6:21 here in Detroit. Trying to get another rental to get back started. I was able to reserve a rental at the same location. So I go up there because I don't know if this do not rent shit is resolved. And I'm tired of talking to people because every time I call them, they would hang up. So I go up there, try to get a rental. It comes up. I'm still on the DNR list, the do not rent list. He writing down a number I need to call. So I show him the invoice that they sent me, explaining that I owe $140.52. And I had them look at it. They telling me they can't look at it. Now, this is the location that caused all this. Matter of fact, the manager was there, who's over the other supervisor that was there. The manager that was there is the one that actually was the one that caused all this in the first place with the computer. He was the one with another employee, a light-skinned dude, who didn't know how to close out the account and create the other account. So the manager assisted him. Closed out the account, updated the form of payment, paid $288. I rolled out. Ain't had a problem since. Took 3 weeks of fucking go. So I go up there. Let him look at the invoice. He said, well, apparently, he said, now this is the guy that caused all this problem. He looking at the invoice. Well, they charge you for the week and then charge you for a day. He said, if you brought the car back up here Tuesday, that's a day. I said, I don't know nothing about no day. I was bringing the car back up there so you can update my new form of payment because you said you couldn't do it over the phone. You had to cancel out the contract. And because we couldn't get it done that Monday, and I came up there that Tuesday to get it done, when you close the account out, the computer should have said I owed $65 for an additional day for closing it out. I don't think I was charged that, but apparently to this bill, I was. This is their fault. You put me on a do not rent list for a fucking bill that I didn't even know about. You got a lot of computer discrepancies, a lot of errors. I'm not the only one complaining about money being taken. The driver that took me up there told me they took $300 out of his account, contacting the extension department. But we're going to get back into the story. Let's see what I found out. The 140.42. Let me tell you what they did. When they subtracted, they caused this problem they damn self. One, by not being able to just go on the website and update my form of payment without closing the fucking contract out. I don't know any app, any service, any website that don't have the capability that if you have a new form of payment or need to change your form of payment, where you could just log on, update it yourself, or call the location and they input the new card information. But apparently at Hertz Rental Car, they don't. You can't update it. That's what caused this. So listen to the story of what I found out, because we done got some results. I actually found out about the $367.55 that popped up in my account that I was charged, that I've been reporting as stolen money. I found out about that. Didn't them bastards come up with an invoice for that? They covering up everything they done motherfucking did that I said didn't happen. This shit just popped up in my account. It did. But let me get back to the 140.52. Tell me why he said I owe this. And it's their fault. I'll tell you what happened here. So for that week ended 11/27 to 12/5. Now, I got charged an additional day because of their computer system. You charged me an additional $65 because your system didn't have the capability to update the debit card, which I don't believe. You did this. Maybe you did it to get me to pay $65. Maybe this is some scam where you getting me or you getting additional charges telling customers that you didn't have the capability to just update the card payment over the phone like any other business. Maybe this is a scam to charge people additional money. So let me tell you what happened with the bill. I'm going to break down a bill and tell you how this was their fault. They charged me $260 for 1 week, which is the normal 1 week rate. Then they charged me $65. And the bill came up to $325. Then with taxes, it would have been $355 with the taxes. If you just erase the minus the $215 out. If you erase minus and $215 out. So what they did wrong is the $215 was the charge for the locksmith. You cannot subtract out $215 without actually showing it was charged to the account. That's where they fucked up at. $265, $65, and there should have been a charge of $215. To show them subtracting out the $215 would have made it void out the $215 like the location super manager did. He waived it. He got rid of it because of the aggravation and hell that locksmith put me through. He waived it. But the billing department, instead of showing on the invoice that it was charged in the first place, subtracted it out. And when they subtracted it out, it subtracted it from the $285 they already had on hold for that week's payment. That's how I end up on $140.52. But I'm not believing that story. I believe that the manager, when he waived the $215, I don't know what else he did, but this is the invoice that was created on $140.52. And because these were unrecognizable charges that just popped up in my account, they were not authorized, and they were made on a closed debit card. They were not authorized because I had no knowledge of it. It just popped up in the bank account long after that $367.55 had been on there. It just popped up. So I get the do not rent list department back on the phone because I actually went out to the location. Had them on speakerphone. They've been telling me all kind of shit. Dates been changing, contracts, dates, and all this. These reps at the do not rent list department. These motherfuckers playing games. And he said it was sent to the collections department. You sent a Hertz rental bill to the collection department without even informing me that I even owed it. Then you turn around and place me on a do not rent list and spring on me 4 months later that I supposedly owe $40.52. And this is your fault. I got charged $65 for an additional day simply because they couldn't update a goddamn debit card over the phone or let me sign in on the website. I had problems logging in on the website with my loyalty number. Said I wasn't found. Every time I talk to them, you got a wrong address on the invoice. I called from the location up there to send the email. They actually got an invoice now for the $367.55. Well, what a coincidence. You created an invoice that nobody in the history of me complaining about this has ever been able to find. I told you, I contacted Hertz. I contacted Uber. Nobody. They said, we don't see what we charge you $367.55. Matter of fact, the location said we didn't charge you for the tow bill. There was a tow bill. There was a tow truck came out there and there was a locksmith. The tow truck wasn't supposed to be there. Hertz rental location said they didn't charge you for the tow. Tell me why when she emails me this invoice, it shows I was charged for the tow. That's what generated a $367.55. This bill came out of nowhere. No wonder the location said we didn't see that they charged you $367.55, because they didn't. This happened after the fact, and this happened recent. They didn't charge me that. This happened after. That's why he never saw it. We showed you you paid your regular amount. You weren't charged a toll bill. Because I kept adding in the amounts that they were talking about. It didn't come up no $367.55, because I'm being told different amount. They told me the price of the locksmith was one thing. Then, after I see how much it came up to, $215, now you done charged me a fee for using your card and all this other stuff. You told me it was a certain price. I think it was $150 or something like that. Then I got charged for use of their card to pay the man. That's how I came to $215. So I get the bank to investigate the $140.52, because these are unauthorized charges you made on a closed debit card. I don't know where these charges came from. They just popped up in my bank account. And when they popped up in my bank account, it was after I had already reported the $367 as stolen funds out my account. I don't recognize the fucking charges. This is what's going on with their computer system here. This is what they doing. So, the $367, then came up with an invoice. And it came to $367 because they done went behind everything they told me and actually charged me for the toll. But I don't understand how, when my rental extended on the 4th of December, I saw the $285 in my bank account for that Monday. Then on Tuesday, I had to go back in my bank account. I was looking in my bank account. All of a sudden, I see a charge of $367.55. But when I scroll back to that Monday, the $285 is gone. And I told the officer that when I went to report it at the Detroit police station. She said, where it showed you paid for that week? I said, it's gone. I'm thinking it's the week that I had already changed over to the new card. We talking about a payment that was on 11/27 when my original card was still open. The $285 disappeared out my fucking account, and $367.55 popped up. They had the capability to remove an amount and then replace it with another amount, all without my fucking authorization. I didn't authorize $367.55. Under my impression, for that week, I'm still under the assumption that I paid $285. But you took the $367.55 out of my account, which I had the bank investigate twice. Both investigations came back as they were valid charges. That's why I kept saying, how? How are these valid charges? Hertz say they didn't bill me that. Uber said they didn't bill me that. Hertz said I wasn't charged for the toll. Already knew that. We show you paid $285 or $286, whatever it was of that date. Where did this come from? These bills just generated out of nothing. That's how you stealing money. You stole from me. You generated an invoice and tacked on a toll bill that you knew I didn't owe. And you put it on that invoice. So technically, you stole $83 and whatever cents that was. You stole that from me. And however trickery you did to make that pop up in my account, the reason why I was investigated as fraud, I don't know how you did that. I don't know how they did that. This place needs to be investigated. This is the second Uber driver, when I turned in that car, said they've had problems with that exact same location. The guy that took me home today said he don't even want to be bothered with that location. He went and got his own car. It's too many discrepancies. The Uber driver that took me there said when he contacted the vehicle extension department to extend the rental he was in, they took $300 out of his account that they have to give back. I'm hearing too many problems from the same location. All of them dealing with billing. So Evidently, I'm over at the collections department. And I have to contact the collections department and pay $140.52 because of something they did. I didn't owe $140.52. They had $285 on hold in that account for that week. I ended up charged $65 simply because you could not update the form of payment. And I said, to be fair, you need to remove that. He said it's not going to be removed. Well, you need to remove that. My account could have been paid on the 4th if you could have updated the form of payment over the phone. So now you done got another $65 out of me claiming you can't update a debit card. Oh, I wonder if a judge come in there and ask you, can you update a debit card? Would you tell them the same thing? I wonder if a FBI agent walked in there and asked them, can you update a debit, change your form of payment on a computer without any problems, without having to close out an account? Would you tell them the same thing? I wonder if law enforcement came up in there, rented a car, said, well, we have an issue with my card. I need to update my form of payment. Would you tell them we can't do that without closing out the account? Seems to me you used that to get an additional $65 out of me because we could have done that over the phone. I didn't have to go up there. We could have done that over the phone, never changed the contract. None of this would have happened. Hertz is responsible. This is a bill I didn't know about, a bill that didn't exist, a bill that just popped up 3 weeks ago, and they had went over and above themselves to cover up this billing and money theft scam they got going on here. You did take money from me, and you use it as a form of billing. Your phone calls are recorded. I wonder what they say when they hear the phone conversations of them telling me you weren't billed for the toll. We don't see we charge you $367, and I removed the $215. I wonder what they say when they find those recordings. Don't try to erase them now, because then you're getting in some more illegal shit. Now you really cover up shit. So, in trying to get one problem solved, I discovered that you took money from me. That's what totaled up to this $367.55. But for the life of me, how did that amount just pop up in my account? Because I'm telling you, on Monday, I saw a charge of $285 in my account. And then on Tuesday, I didn't see that charge on my account. I saw $367.55. So how did you undo a charge and redo a charge without notifying me, sending me a text message, telling me anything that you charged me for an additional the toll charge, and we are now taking $367.55 out your account? I didn't authorize those charges, so you did steal from me. And then you try to make it look like you didn't by adding a toll charge on there that I wasn't charged for. So that's invoice number 1, the $367.55. So the do not rent list, remove that. He has returned the $83 that they took. He has returned that. But he would not straighten out the $140.52 by removing the additional day. I said, I got charged an additional day because you couldn't update my form of payment over the phone. And we had to come in there and close the contract out. And because you had to close the contract out, it looked like I came in there and kept the car additional day when I was really up there to update my form of payment, which you claim you got a system. You can't do that without closing out the account. So that's $65 you got off of me because of your computer system. And then the other problem came in is because when you generated that invoice that popped up out of nowhere, you showed the $260 for the week, the $65 for the charge. But what they did that caused me to owe 140.52 is when they subtracted that 215 out, which the location had waived, but when they subtracted it out of the invoice, it subtracted from the 285 they already had on hold for payment for that week. That's what they did wrong. Technically, with the $65 and the $260, that week I should have paid $255. So when he closed that account out, it should have said that you have to pay $65 because I'm there the next day updating my form of payment. But I don't think the location even charged me the $65. I think they're just trying to spring that on me now to try to cover up the money they took. I don't think he ever charged me that. I would never charge that. Just like I wouldn't charge that tow amount. They started throwing charges on here to cover up what they did. So, if this is the way the invoice should have looked, it should have been $260, $65, and then $215 for the lockout. Then down at the bottom where y'all saw that minus $215, it should have said minus $215 with the taxes on there, which would have said the bill was $355. You already had $285 on hold for that week. All I needed to pay was an additional $65. But you didn't. Your billing did this. And then you waited 4 months later to nobody could remember what went down, how these transactions occurred, and you did it deliberate. Because when I walked up there and the manager that was involved with this, he said, I don't remember back that far. He don't remember. He don't remember. Just like Uber did when they deactivated my account a month after somebody accused me of inappropriately touching them and talking sexual. Asked me, did I remember anything happened back in January? Who do? No, nothing like that. What happened? And when they told me, I said, that's a damn lie. That's what he fucked up. You waited till 4 months after you generated this bill. The date on it says January 5th. And I'm wondering, why come I never heard about this in January? You generated the bill in January. How come I wasn't placed on a do not rent list in January? How about February? How about when I was calling all those weeks? How many weeks is in January? Was it 5? In February, it had 4. So we got 8 weeks after this invoice was generated. Well, really 7, because it was generated on the 5th. We got 7 weeks after the invoice was generated that I have called the vehicle extension department when they weren't able to get their payment and extended the account. I've called the location to get the vouchers for the oil change. I've called Uber. I've called everybody. How come I didn't know about this back in January? January, February, March. In December, because it was generated in November. You claim these charges happened in November. No, December 5th. So December 5th, January 5th, February 5th, March 5th, April 5th. 4 goddamn months. You waited 4 months till even the manager at the location couldn't remember what happened. But he know. Because he know I kept calling up there about that $367.55. He told me it was a glitch that the company was investigating. Give him to Friday. He told me it was a glitch. How did you remove the $285 off my bank account and replace it with the $367 on Tuesday? And then how did you charge my bank account $140.52 on the 5th on a closed debit card? Talking about it was pre-authorized. No, it wasn't pre-authorized because you had not generated that amount yet until I came in there and closed out that account, which was on the 5th. And for it to be pre-authorized, you would have had to told me right then and that day that that's what I owed. It wasn't pre-authorized at all. Not the 367 or the 140.52. So I found out they created an invoice to make it look like and explain why they charged me $367.55, which I got the toll bill removed off of there, and he's returned that. But the 140.52 was their fault, because when you subtracted the $215 out of the amount you already had from me to pay for that week, it took from that week. And then you charged me $65 because your goddamn computer system, you can't update a debit card without closing out an account, which sounds fucking ridiculous. So technically, that week they say I owe $140.52, I only owe $75 for all this mess. Technically, I only owe $75. This their fault. They need to be investigated. You've been taking money through billing errors and discrepancies, and you've been coming up with the most realist, convincing ass fucking stories I've ever heard of before in my life. But you cannot explain waiting 4 months later, then this shit that popped up out the blue for a date on the invoice dating January for an amount you said generated December 5th. You can't explain this. And then I told him, he said, I can't remove that. That's got to be paid $140.52. No, you need to remove the $65. That's not my fault you charged me for an additional day. And I wasn't charged for the day. I wasn't charged anything. They just created this invoice to make it look like I got charged all this. And because you subtracted the $215 wrong, you took from the money you already had from me that the bank investigated, and you told the bank was an error. The bank didn't take that money back on its own. The bank investigated, which means they had to contact Hertz. And if Hertz sent the money back, you said it wasn't a valid charge. You said the 367 was valid, and it wasn't valid. But it just popped up on my account. All these billing discrepancies. Hertz needs to be investigated. It's too many people saying the same shit about their location and complaining about money coming out their account and shit. Hertz did this. I've been paying everything they told me to pay. You fucking did this. 4 months after, ain't nobody gonna believe this shit. A bank letter saying they investigated and it said it was an error. That's your fault. I don't owe shit. And let's say we want to be fair all the way around. Really, I only owe $75 because I should have been charged $65 just to come up there and update my fucking debit card. You added that onto the account just to get more money out my ass when I don't even think it was ever on the fucking account. And then you subtracted $215 out of the money you had to pay for that week. It's what fucked all this up. They need to be investigated. Some shady ass shit going on here. You got some discrepancies with your billing practices, and you got some clever ass, convincing ass motherfucking stories. But you ain't finna run that shit on me. Had I not called him and asked and found out, asked them about the $367.55, I wouldn't even know they had charged me $83 for that tow. That's $83 you had stole from me. Ooh, there's a lot of stealing going on around here. A lot of invoices being created. All after the fact. Not during, but after the fact. Money popping up in the account, disappeared. Original rental agreements. You told me that I know I took the car out on August 14th. You told me it was October 9th, return 11/27. Was going to actually send me a copy. I should have told her to send me a copy, and I would have had a proof of the computer changes that's going on here. Then when she wanted to send me the invoice about the $367.55, she got an email that ain't no way in hell they could have had on my account. Had the nerve to ask me for my correct email. Bitch, you had it when they sent the other invoice. You had an email that's closed and been deleted. What the fuck going on at this place? Y'all asses gonna be arrested over this shit. I'm telling you. If anybody needed to be audited, it's Hertz rental car and shit.